All right. Welcome back. You know what time it is. Let's get back to Thursday and D. So, some notes about this upcoming session. We only had half of the players. The girls could not make it, so it was just the guys. And oh boy, girls, you cannot miss a session. We need focus and we need some control. Oh boy, was it wild. Anyway, let's get into the episode. So we start off with the group moving back westward from the swamp. And I usually have everyone roll a certain sequence of dice to see what exactly happens or if they find or encounter anything during the day. I find this helps keep my mental state fresh and gives the world more of a random, unique opportunities. And I really like that, especially I can get locked into how I see the game going. And the system that I've developed helps me think outside the box for what I might have envisioned for that session. And it can be a lot of fun to have something wild and random show up. And sure enough, they do have something pretty interesting turn up. As they're trudging through the swamp, the girls tailing behind Pickles and Jeff, they trip on something. Well, Pickles trips on something. I have them both roll a d20. I believe Pickles gets the lowest roll, and he catches his feet on something in the swamp. And as he stumbles forward, Jeff catches him quickly, and they reach down into the muck, and he pulls out this absolutely filthy child's teddy bear. And they begin shaking the muck off of this toy, and immediately they recognize that there is something strange about this. Notably, it's a child's teddy bear with black fur, but it has a heart stitched on the chest. I believe I had Pickles give me an Arcana roll. One of them gave me an Arcana roll. And yes, indeed, it is magical. And Jeff, being an artificer, goes ahead and he casts Identify, and he learns that this is a bear of caring. But this isn't just any bear of carrying. This is the original bear of carrying. And I elaborate to the player that magic items are really interesting and unique. And a lot of what exists today has been backwards engineered or created from item that was similar to it in the past. And all the way up to the point where there was an original of any particular item. Now, a wizard would get their hand on it, and they would try to figure out what it is and how it worked, what kind of magic was affecting it, and then they would be able to take and create their own item based off of that original. Well, this bear, it's an original item. It wasn't created based off of something else. The other thing that he learns is that this is an attunement item. So you have to attune to it. Unsure of really what to make of this, he passes it off to Pickles, who is more than willing to just attune to this bear that he tripped over in the swamp. And as they settle down for the night, he goes ahead and he completes his attunement, to which I inform him that by whispering, "I need you," to the bear, it will do something. What it does, it's not revealed. I tier identify for more powerful magic items. Identify will not reveal all the information about it unless you cast it at a higher level. So with Identify only cast at a first level, this is all the information that they can get. But he goes and he attunes to it, and he learns that the bear has this activation phrase of sorts. And so they all bunk down for the night and settle in for a quiet, cozy night, they hope. And indeed, aside from a little bit of frog trauma from some smaller frogs in the swamp, and a large creature they hear trudging about in the middle of the night is relatively quiet. And so they awake, finally refreshed, everyone having just finally able to really take full use of their abilities. Speaking of which, they had all leveled up since the last session. Pickles took 3rd level in Bard. He's a lore Bard. And then Jeff, he got his 3rd level in Artificer, and he's an Armorer. So, pretty sweet choices. When the girls, Mycelia is a Druid and Athalia is a Cleric, so they both picked their subclasses at 1st level. We'll level them up prior to the next session. Which won't be a big deal, won't take very long at all. But they finally get a nice night of rest, and the very next morning they begin trudging back through the swamp, knowing that when they had first been attacked by the bullywugs, this caldera, it fits. The caldera that they had went to that had the ziggurat in it, it was about a 1.5-day trek from the road. And so they had climbed up the cliffside, and they've traveled all day, so they know they have about half a day left to go. And sure enough, by about noon, they hit the road. But as they're breaking out of the swamp, they see that there are some people on the road. So they slowly and cautiously approach, breaking through the foliage. And it's a pair of brothers walking along with a cart that's being pulled by this kind of older little pony. And they've stopped and are staring at the party walking out of the swamp. Because keep in mind, the swamp is dangerous. You don't go in there unless you're a hunter or unless you have a death wish. And the group hails these folks down, and it takes a minute, but they eventually do recognize them. These are some carpenters from Pantano, from the town that they've come from. And they're just headed north, and they're really suspicious of the group. They don't really feel very comfortable. Of the two brothers, Alan is the more outspoken one, and Rick, his quieter brother, he's much more suspicious and much more standoffish. He doesn't really have a great opinion of Pickles or of Jeff, and so he opts to keep his distance. So while Jeff and Pickles banter a bit back and forth about how they can help out Alan and Rick traveling northwards, Alan and Rick are just flat out moving on. And it doesn't take very long before they realize they hear Alan saying, bye. And they realize, oh, well, we were going to see if we could work something out where we could all travel together. We could help them. They could help us. But apparently, these guys aren't having any of it. And so they just reluctantly hit the road northward, following behind this little wagon. They travel most of the day pretty peacefully, and eventually they break out of the swamplands. And as you travel further north, the elevation rises, and so you're coming up out of the water, and it's starting to get into really, the trees are starting to thin out a bit, and you're starting to get into more of a plateau, this really nice grasslands. And by the end of the day, they've settled down in this hollow. The girls have gone over to tend to Sally, who is Rick and Alan's pony, who's been pulling the cart all day. So they go over to tend to her and just kind of make the camp a bit nicer. Athalia's pretty good with just making things homely. So that's what she tends to. And Mycelia just flits about and begins kind of prepping the camp for the night. Sorry, girls, you're gone. That's what I had your characters do. But what's more humorous, much more humorous, is that Pickles goes off out of earshot so that he can ask the book that he's got a few questions. And his first question is he's asking about that guardian, a guardian, which really caught me off guard. I didn't know what he was referencing at first, but when I questioned the player, he said, well, the eyes, those ethereal eyes that Mycelia had seen when we were in the Frog Ziggurat. Does the book know where they went, or does the book know anything about them? And the book doesn't give him a reply, so he asks the book another question, but he doesn't hear the reply because as he's asking this question, he hears rustling in the grass behind him. And I have him make a perception check, and he turns his head, and sure enough, he sees this dude just kind of army crawling with a short sword, at his side, really slowly towards him through the grass. And this guy has no skill, no talent. It's pretty obvious. He has never done this before. And as soon as he thinks he's been spotted, he just shoves his face down into the grass like an ostrich. You can't see me. You can't see me. He didn't see me. I'm all good. At which point there's some commotion. A fight breaks out. This guy realizes he's been seen, and he immediately starts to just kind of crawl back. But his partner, who is hiding off in the thinning of trees, he takes advantage of Pickle's distraction and takes a shot. I don't remember if he hit or not. I think he did. I think he took a shot with advantage for a surprise. But anyway, a short fight breaks out, and Pickles starts yelling, which causes Jeff to come running. It takes a couple rounds until Jeff gets into combat, but they quickly dispatch these guys. The one who is crawling through the grass, they knock him out. They just flat out knock him unconscious. But they do keep him alive, which I was really proud of. The one off in the trees, he runs away, and he actually escapes. So they tie this guy up and they bring him back to their camp. And they've kind of lean him up against one of the few rocks in the area. Oh, sorry about that. And they lean him up against the rocks and they begin to interrogate this guy. Who are you? What are you doing out here? Why did you attack us? All of this stuff. And as soon as they, wake him back up, he is just the whiniest, sniveliest, most pitiful individual you can imagine. And he's freaking out. He's peed himself out of, from being unconscious and terrified. It's very clear to them as they begin to push into a story that this is not his life. So who exactly is this guy and what all do they learn? So the guy that they captured, his name is Lyme, Lyme, Lyme. And he is from Ribarstvo. He is a secretary, and he works for the city-state doing clerical work, pushing papers, and just following the tape to make sure that everything that needs to get done gets done in the right process. But he's been laid off as of late. It hasn't been a very long time, but he's been out of work for about 7 or 8 days. And the reason why is there is a dragon in Ribarstvo who oversees the vast majority of the governing body. And without the dragon's approval for the vast majority of these propositions, of all this paperwork that has to go through, without the dragon's approval, this stuff can't go through. And the dragon left about 2 months ago. I run months a little bit differently for my setting. I actually did take the time and sit down and make a whole calendar. So I say a month. We think of a month as 30 to 31 days. In my setting, a month is 42 days, and there are 8 months in the year. So the dragon's been gone for about 80 days, anywhere between 40 to 80 days. The dragon left last year and has not returned. And what's worse is the dragon hasn't been confirmed to being received where they were going. So this dragon is just flat out missing. And no one knows what's going on, and the paperwork has been piling up. But without the dragon, they can't get anything approved, and they can't get anything through. So what the city-state has done in order to maintain funds, they have laid off a vast number of the secretaries, of the people handling all of this paperwork, so that they don't have to pay them to sit there and do nothing. With the intention that once the dragon comes back, that everyone can come back to their jobs. Well, Lyme quickly gives up all of this information. But who was that other guy that he was with? Lyme quickly spills all this too. The other guy was named Murchins, and he was a sailor from a place in the south called Saltcrust. He came up not too long ago from the south, and he came with some other people, and he began to promise Lyme that he could help take care of Lyme, and that Murchins could really step in and provide what his family needed. But when at the first sign of trouble, Murchins dipped, leaving Lyme with these with these two crazy fools. I love my players. I love them dearly. But I tell you what, we had a half-hour conversation about what they intended to do with Lyme. Lyme's going to help him. He ain't going to get paid much. And they coerced him effectively. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I had a short chat with Pickles' player, just regarding his backstory, because it wasn't me that needed the convincing. My players are free to make their choices, and I let the chips fall where they may. I like to keep a living, breathing world, but Pickles had to convince Jeff to go along with this course of actions, because Jeff was dramatically opposed to it. So we had this half-hour-long conversation, and I told Pickles, I'm like, look, you would not see anything wrong with this. Your family operated under the means of do what you want, and if you get in trouble, pay your way out. Your family did not teach you morals. Your family did not teach you that there was a right way to treat people. So if this is something you want to do, I feel it is perfectly within your character's purview to do this. But I did remind him at this point that, look, all of your family has been wiped out. You were the only survivor in all of that wreckage. So with that information in mind, they set about their plan, and now, now they have Lyme the intern. That is where we ended the session for the night. I really hope the girls are feeling better before Thursday. Oh, because boy, do we need it. We had quite the night. I am excited for to see what they set out to do. Lyme, being a secretary, may be able to help the party figure out kind of what they should look for in regards to this cloaked figure that they set out to investigate. And certainly he might have connections to the dragons at Ribarstvo and help get the party in and get them more information. That being said, they're really going about their dealings with Lyme in kind of a coercive, persuasive fashion. And it's pretty much moved from Lyme being taken in by this group of shady bandits to now Lyme being taken in and kind of held against his will by this group of, I want to say crazy people. No, yeah, crazy people. I'm excited to see where it goes. I hope you're enjoying the series. I'm having a lot of fun recording and running these games. It's a great time. I love playing D&D. I love seeing what the players do and how they react to the stuff I throw at them. And we'll see if they ever figure out what that bear does. Hey, I hope you have a great day. Is it Thursday yet?